200% of the average of the nation in energy costs. That's really hard to be competitive, particularly with our neighbors in Oregon, Nevada, and Arizona. It's very difficult, but it's a great state. We have 40 million people. We have some of the greatest universities in the world here. The workforce is incredible, and just that California spirit is really what drives manufacturing, but we're doing it at an added cost that I think is necessary.
And the tariffs on top of that, I mean, even though they're meant to encourage production in this country, are they not helping? Do they help?
Yeah, well, since COVID, we've actually had a national discussion about reshoring jobs and manufacturing to the United States. That's fantastic. It's great for us in California, but it's great for the country. And as we do that, though, there's some natural processes that take place, particularly that capital investment I was talking about. Tariffs tend to interrupt and provide either a break to the system, but we need to have a conversation that says, who are our trading partners? Why are they so important to us? And let's trade with them, and let's do things on an open and fair playing field so that we can export too. Tariffs tend to be thought of as things are coming into the country. What about the great American exports that we're trying to share with the rest of the world? You
mentioned the added cost of doing business in California. What do you need state lawmakers and the governor to do to help in this situation?
Well, we've got a couple of things. The first is everyone's talking about manufacturing. So great job for everybody. The legislature, the governor, all of the administrative bodies, they're all talking about manufacturing because we all realize how important it is, not only to the state's economy, but the good paying jobs that are in our sector. So that part, check, we're doing a really good job. The next part, though, is having those actions follow up with it. California is a bad example in this case of one of 38 states that do not have a broad manufacturer's investment credit on the books to support manufacturing. And simply stated, if you buy a $1 million piece of equipment to expand your operations, there'd be a tax credit roughly equivalent to $100,000. 38 other states do that already, and another 6 states don't even charge a sales tax at all. So California is an outlier in supporting manufacturing here in a partnership with the government. We're not making an ask for a handout. We're just saying, treat us like the other manufacturers in the country. That by itself would be a huge infusion of energy and attention to manufacturing. And the second would be, we really have to get a handle on energy costs in this state. There's no reason why the California average is twice the national average.
So just to unpack the first one, the tax credit, you have been trying to do this for the last several years at this point. What's the holdup?
Right now, the state's in a budget deficit situation. It's clear, everybody knows it, and a tax credit would contribute more to that. The difference, though, for ours is that we wouldn't get the tax credit unless we invested. So we would have already spent the money to build out our capital in California, and then we would get the credit. Essentially, the way it would work is a company would buy a new piece of equipment, and in their tax return at the end of the year, after they spend all the money and hired all the jobs, they would get that credit from the state. And we have economic analysis that shows billions would come back to California through taxes, additional taxes, if we had this tax credit on the books.
What would happen if, I mean, this keeps getting rejected? I understand we're in tough budget years, for sure. We've been covering that. But what is the risk for manufacturers if this help from the state doesn't come?
Well, it's kind of the slow drip, right? You get to a point where we start to lose small and medium manufacturers, which really are the lifeblood of this economy.
Is that happening right now?
It is. The problem is it's a quiet quitting, kind of like coming out of COVID. They just leave. And that maybe that enterprise between 50 and 100 employees just closes their doors, and you don't really hear about that. And then it gets to a point where it's too late. And ironically, those are the enterprises that need the tax credit the most. They are having the hardest time competing with their competitors in other states here in the country, but internationally, it's very difficult. And I had one of our members in the Bay Area, second generation family-owned enterprise, who every week would get postcards and brochures from Tennessee and the Carolinas and all over the country, and it starts to look pretty good. And she's resisted, which is fantastic, because she wants to keep her business in the Bay Area. But last year, her employees came to her and said, we want to move. And if that doesn't get really at the heart of the affordability crisis in California, I don't know what does. The Bay Area does tend to have a higher cost of living. The wages are good, but the employees said, let's go. And for us, that's a warning signal, really, that concerns me greatly.
Before we let you go, you also mentioned energy. I mean, are you talking about oil and gas? Are you talking about just power in general, the inability to figure out this clean energy grid situation,
all of it. That's the problem. The California infrastructure, not just in energy, but water, highways, in fact, workforce is infrastructure. People are part of our infrastructure. We haven't kept up with the demands. The infrastructure we have in the state was built probably with 20 million people in mind for a population. We have 40. We just haven't kept pace. And with that, there's that upward pressure on cost, but it's aging as well. So as we try to transition into an electrified economy, manufacturing is difficult to do, we don't have the grid support for that or the time. And when you don't have either of those two things, the costs tend to rise. And for manufacturing, energy, depending upon the kind of manufacturing, is probably the #1 cost input. And we're paying twice as much here as we are anywhere else. So what we do need to do, we need to build generation quickly and affordably without all of the regulation that makes it delayed and costly. And if we could get to some of those things in this legislative session, that would be great. We're going to continue asking the governor to consider our proposal because we think there would be a big return to the state in terms of additional tax revenue, and we could help flatten out the deficit. That's one of the, manufacturing wants to be part of the solution.
All right. Lance Hastings, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks.